mad at my dad, and then she left to take her friends home. And then she comes back, and that's when it was up in the tree above where she parks her car. She was rolled the window down and was yelling, "Come get this thing out of the tree, Dad!"
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's good. That's good therapy. 20 years later, right there.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I already told my kids I'd pay for their therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're gonna need it for sure.
You ever seen the you remember the original Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember how terrifying that movie was?
Mm-hmm.
Have you go rewatch it? Like, I can't believe I was ever scared of that movie, right? I can't believe it like that. I was just like, but
yeah, but we were pretty. I was pretty young when those came out, right? The first ones, right? So yeah, I mean that was scary because like I was 8, and it was
no. But anyways, enough of that. Enough of that catching up. Enough with your family. It's not what I call you on here for. You see any skunk apes, Jay? Did you bring me back some skunk apes?
I didn't, but I did see some weird stuff. Like I said, in those rows, there's these little fallen whatever, and it's just a collection of like brush and stuff. But I mean, definitely an animal could live in there for sure.
Yeah.
Are they like? Is there something else in there? Mm-hmm. I didn't really see anything, but I didn't hear any coyotes, which was weird to me because you kind of always hear them out there.
Well. Like I said, with the coyotes, I think within the next year, a year and a half, it's going to be open season on coyotes.
What do you mean? But
they're breeding out of control, man. They're all over the place.
They are. But see, here's the thing. That's what is so interesting about them is the more you kill them off, the more they breed. So killing them off is usually not the answer.
Yeah, they're going to start getting a hold of people's dogs pretty soon, I think.
They're going to start getting a hold of people's kids.
Oh yeah,
they get hungry.
Sure. Wasn't that? No, that was a dingo. That story out of Australia.
Yeah, that was in Australia. That was a dingo. There's only been one reported coyote killing a human being, and that was like up in Canada, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they grow on bigger.
It was an outlier. They don't typically.
They grow on bigger and meaner up there. All right. Yeah. Anyways, welcome back.
Yeah.
You feel loved? You feel loved?
I do.
Nobody cares, Jay. We're getting down to business right now. Nobody cares, all right? No, welcome back, man. People, welcome back, Jay. Click.
Yeah, I made it.
You feel recharged? You get your batteries charged? You feel good?
Recharged? Kind of. Sure.
It's good.
Why not?
Good little way.
Why not?
All right, Jay, you know how I bring the heat, son. I'm bringing the heat, son. I'm bringing the heat. I'm going to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
We've often talked about ignoring Native American legends at your own risk, right? Right?
Absolutely.
Right? So what do you know about these things called the Dark Watchers, a.k.a. the Silent Guardians of the Pines out in California? You ever heard about these things before?
I've heard a little bit about them. I find the story really cool and fascinating. When you think about it, right? Like when you say Dark Watchers, right? The whole Watchers thing kind of pops in my head. Right? Of leftover from however long ago, still kind of here.
Right.
And that's kind of their job to watch.
Absolutely. So these things are reportedly 10 feet tall, shadowy figures to appear to be wearing hoods with, I'm going off my memory here, light, glowing, smoldering red eyes, very ominous. They run the San Luca mountain range, which runs from Monterey down the coast of California, also affectionately known as the Big Sur, S-U-R, right? The Big Sur that runs down there. And to give our listeners, our watchers, a little bit of background about this is that the earliest report of these watchers that I could find dated back about 300 years ago. And of course, you know that Native Americans have lived in this country a lot longer than that, but without contact with us, the white mans, the colonizers like Jay's people, the Viking breed. And so
like Jay's people.
Like Jay's people. Exactly. I wasn't involved in none of that. These blue eyes ain't shed no blood.
Yeah, of course not.
So
the Irish.
The Irish and Vikings. Yeah, we're mostly peaceful. Say it right. Totally. Mostly peaceful. Yeah, we're mostly peaceful.
Totally.
Yeah,
Some car bombs, right?
my grandfather's name was Ragnar.
Yeah, right.
Ignore that. It was an affectionate name. It was a love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways, this first got reported because California was big on gold, right? So, of course, they would run the gold ranges down there. And prospectors, they had no fear. Really, they didn't have any fear. They would load up everything they had on a mule. They would load up a musket. And they would go out, and these guys would prospect, man. They would go and look for gold. And people don't often realize, I didn't realize, I slept on this for a little while until I did a little bit of homework, how dangerous prospecting really was, right? And I can give you a few hints, right? So,
oh, you mean back then?
Yeah, back then, yeah, for sure, right?
Jeez.
So, for one, if the elements didn't kill you, you had to deal with grizzly bears. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but California used to be littered with grizzly bears. In fact, the state flag of California still has a grizzly bear on it, y'all. The reason why you don't see no more grizzly bears out in California because they decided to end that entire species out there because these bad boys were legit. I myself have had the privilege of never having to come across a grizzly bear in the wild, and that is my life goal, right? To never, ever come across a grizzly bear in the wild. I've seen some black bears, but never a grizzly bear. And these guys had muskets, and if you ever try to kill a grizzly bear with one shot, it don't work. All right, so
they're pretty tough.
Takes a while to do it. But not only that, these guys had to dig in holes. They had to do that, and when they did find something, they had to get it back to town, and they had a bad habit of rolling into the saloons, telling everybody where their site was at, and then they would have claim jumpers, and then people would wait for them to come back down the mountain, and they would just appropriate their belongings.
Take care of things.
So it was dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
And so these boys started reporting that they were making these hikes through that mountain range. And I think a lot of people too just dawned on me. A lot of people think that California really is only San Francisco, San Diego, LA,
right?
Oakland, basically the dumps. Those are the dumpster fires of California. It is. California is actually a beautiful place. And if you go in Northern California, there are a lot of like really cool people there, right? Really are, right? It's when you get in these major city hubs, LA, Hollywood, San Diego is the worst. I was in San Diego for 2 weeks for training. I walked into a 7-Eleven. It's illegal to smoke in San Diego. There was a girl hiding behind a dumpster smoking a cigarette. I saw her. She had a panic attack that I was going to turn her in. I was like, what are you I don't smoke 2 more. I don't care. I was like, I'm not from around here. I'm from the East Coast. She's like, oh my God, you're a normal one. I was like, damn. Like, so anyways.
I've never been out to California, so I can't say.
Well, so Northern California is beautiful. It really is. Until you start hitting.
Heard, but I saw it from an airplane.
Until you get out, until you get out there, until you get north towards San Francisco, which is a complete turd. It is terrible. They've ruined it. That city once upon a time probably was something to marvel at. I'd never been the first time I went to San Diego, I've been 2 or 3 times. First time I went to San Diego, I was incredibly hype about actually going to San Diego, right? I got out there and it was one of the most disappointing trips of my life.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.